So another video about the S1. We're closing the year off now, 2023, we're in November, and I thought it would be important just to do one last video about the S1 certificate from the UK. This is coming off the back of a live that we've already just done with Scats on the YouTooSpain channel. Check out the link below. We did an hour and a half, I think it was today, talking about it. But I just wanted to do a short video explaining the most important points of the S1 certificate. So obviously, as we know now, it's great news that you can use the S1 certificate for your non-lucrative visa application, or if you are an EU citizen and have an EU family member who's getting residency under that regime, the EU platform as we call it, then you can use the S1 as well, and your family member can. So it's great news for on all fronts. You can use the S1 to get your residency in Spain, depending on how you're going to get it. Now, we know that the visa process, especially the non-lucrative visa, requires you to pre-register. We call it a pre-registration. In reality, it's actually a registration with the Social Security, which isn't going to come to fruition. It just gives you the documents you need to get through the visa appointment, get your visa approved, and then when you come here to Spain, you have to finalise that registration, and in some cases you have to start again. But that's not a problem for us. Our non-lucrative visa clients, we manage that process. If you're going for a non-lucrative visa yourself, then you will need to register your S1 using a link, which I'm going to put at the bottom of this video as well. And then when you get to Spain, you'll have to finalise that registration, or you may have to start that process again, depending on how long it takes to get your visa. If you're an EU citizen, then you can come straight away and use your S1 to get your residency. Once you have your residency, then you can go direct to registering your S1 here with the Social Security. Now remember, once you have registered your S1, you'll get a document which is called it's a certificate of access to healthcare in Spain. All right. So we've got loads of videos and stuff on this. We've got a great article. Again, I'll put the link below to that article. Another video explains exactly, because it gives you an example of what the certificate looks like. It also tells you what to do with this certificate after you've got it. But what I want to do is I want to go into that part. So we know that we can use the S1 to get residency, but what happens next? And this is very, very, very important to me, and I think it's a message that I haven't got out there enough for people, because we focus so much on getting the residency. You know, let's get into Spain. Can we use the S1 to get into Spain? But what happens when you need it? And it's not something I believe that I've spoken about enough, and I don't think it's enough that we talk about enough on the channel. As I say, I've just got off the back of a long live with Scats talking about it. So what happens? Well, first of all, you get your certificate. That certificate gives you access to healthcare in Spain. Now, we live in autonomous communities, and different autonomous communities have different rules, I imagine, but in all of them, you will need to visit your local doctor, so your local public doctor. So you've got no private healthcare if you're on the S1. Okay, so you're going to a public doctor. If you don't speak Spanish, please take someone who speaks Spanish with you. You would go to reception at whatever medical centre you have. So for example, here in Alarín de la Torre, we have a medical centre. You go in, reception's on the right hand side. Now there you should be able to register this certificate along with, evidently take your proof of address, your padron, your TIE card or your residency card if you have one, and take your passport as well, just for good measure as well. Now you will, depending on where you go, here evidently they ask you to fill out a form. You fill it out, you hand it in, and then they say the card will be posted out to you in a matter of weeks. Unfortunately, here in Andalusia it can take a few months, but at the time of registering, you should get a document which proves you're registered, and you should be able to access a doctor straight away. You should be assigned a doctor. So albeit you've registered at the doctor's and you're waiting for your card to come through, you do not need to wait for your physical card to land on your doormat before you see a doctor. Okay, so, and you must push that issue as well. So if you're going to a doctor, make sure you get assigned a doctor. You've got your letter that says you have right to healthcare. Now you might say, okay, well, I don't need to see a doctor. I don't feel sick. You know, I don't feel very well. I don't feel ill. So if you don't feel ill, that's absolutely fine. You know, that's fine. If you don't feel ill, that's fine. You don't need to go and see a doctor. So why would I go to a doctor? Well, I'll tell you why you would go to a doctor. If something was to happen to you and you were picked up on the street because you'd collapsed or something, you would go straight to hospital. They would identify who you are, and there'll be no records at all on the system. So they might not need records to treat whatever ailments you have at that time in the case of an emergency, but I think it certainly would help. For people who have medication, who need repeat prescriptions, etc., you definitely have to go to your doctor and make them aware of your medical conditions. Okay, it's very normal here in Spain just to have regular annual checkups anyway and blood tests. It's preventative medicine. I've recently just had a blood test after getting a complete ear bending from my doctor for not doing it for a couple of years. So preventative medicine is normally a thing here. Again, every doctor's different. Somebody might come on now and say, oh, when I went to my doctor, it was awful. I don't know. But generally, I find they're very good, and generally they do apply preventative medicine as a way of thinking here. So if you regular blood checks is a thing here. Obviously, if you've got pre-existing conditions, you need to go inform your doctor of those conditions. Bring your medical history with you from the UK. Your doctor may look at it in English. If not, it may need translating. But as I say, definitely a good idea to take someone who speaks Spanish with you. And just make sure that your doctor is aware of any conditions you have, any medication you need, because the medication might be slightly different.